What's up, guys? It is Will here, back again for another episode of Lights Camera Collect with my amazing co-host, Keco Collects. Keco, man, I gotta ask, how you doing today, man? You're my special panel member once again. It's been like, what, 2 weeks? I think you missed one show, and then now you're back as the co-host again. So.
I like it, man. And I love the interactions that we had with everybody on the last round. I felt like that was a good time. Felt like we had a good rapport going, good banter, and that's all that matters. And if you remember, one of my favorite things about a couple weeks ago, and feel free, people, to go back and rewatch that or listen to that episode, the similarities that Will and I share in our collecting game when it comes to our charts and values and tracking our purchases and such. So it's uncanny, Will, that you would have me once again. You know, there's just so many things we have in common, but good to see you, pal. Happy Good Friday.
Dude, it's good to see you as well. Dude, it's almost funny, like your drink is like blurred. It's almost like there's like a copyright issue where it's like we don't have the rights to that, so we gotta blur it.
Correct. Yeah. Oh, don't tell anybody what this is, everybody.
Yeah, it's blurred. It's blurred. Don't.
No, it's because
it's like those reality TV shows.
It's like, ooh, are you drinking soda? Yes, I am drinking soda. Yeah.
It's definitely not Sprite. It's clearly not.
Correct.
Yeah, it's probably like one of those third party versions, like Mr. Pibb or something.
A third party, the Aldi, the Kroger brand, all that kind of stuff. Hey, exactly. don't hate on any of those third party sodas, by the way. Some of those slap pretty good. Mountain Lightning.
Some of those do slap.
Those are pretty good.
Not about it. I don't know what the third. I guess Sierra Mist isn't really third party, but it's kind of like the other version of Sprite.
No, Sierra Mist is the third party because there's Sprite, 7-Up, and Sierra Mist. And then there is like lemon lime seltzer. That's the third party.
Yeah, third party version. That's the Toys R version.
Yeah, the Susu Toys version. So.
Right, exactly. Sprite is Hot Toys at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, thanks so much for joining me, dude. It's going to be a great time. We got a lot of really cool topics, a lot of philosophical stuff that you and I will have fun talking about. And of course, the news. We always hit the news. So Before we do that, Keco, let's address the chat. Danimal Slacker 72 said, all right, perfect way to start the weekend. Come on, Will, give us the gun show. Yeah, half gun show. I can't always show the gun. Yeah, see, Keco and I, bro, we gotta do this sometimes. But yes. Well, it doesn't blur the guns clearly, so you know they know the camera knows what to focus on.
Right, it's too hazardous, man.
Exactly, it's too hazardous. You know, third party soda and guns. That's a dangerous chemical mixture there.
Sounds like a metal band.
Exactly, that does sound like a
third party
band,
soda and guns. Yeah,
yeah. That does, dude. Two Godly said, "Sub gentlemen, the collector number one. What's up? Everyone's doing great. Leo Riley in the house. Xander in the house. Hello all. JC, it is Friday. It's actually Good Friday, which is really exciting. Maniac UK. JC is excited. Kiko's in the house tonight. JC, thanks so much. Gilbert Armazin. Yo, what is up, everyone? What is up, Gilbert? Universal Key. Carlos in the house. The 10K Ecto 1 seller. That's Carlos.
He always has a special spot in my heart with that one.
He does. Just sell it to Kiko, Carlos. Stop fucking around, bro. Sell it to Kiko for 2.5K. Call it a day and move on. That's all we got to do, man. Come on now. Danimal Slacker again. Figurassic Park. Kiwi Collector. Let's see. Carlos said when I was on the show, we were on time. Just saying that was not Kiko's fault. That was my fault. So we were working on a few technical difficulties.
Audio glitches, man.
Exactly, dude. Seriously. Bob Dylan. Hello, everyone. Feezy's Figures. What is up? AJ Agarusa. What is up, AJ? Bob Dylan said Sierra Mist is Asmus. I actually like Sierra Mist. Will Uncle Flex said, Will, you make it hard to catch you, bro. Kiko, my DTOFs are good, thanks to you. Hey. That video was badass, by the way, Kiko.
We'll be chatting about that, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
The definitive guide.
It was really good, dude. It was really good. Darth Drez, hi all. What is up, Darth Drez? SSJ Starlord, third party soda and guns. Merca. Best Guard Kid gets it, bro. He really does.
That's what
Blue
matters.
Tattoo with a final comment here before we move on. Thanks for joining Blue Tattoo. Kiko, I want to jump right into this because this is the news that has taken the collecting world by storm. There is a figure, and of course, nonetheless, a Star Wars figure, of course, that's where people's minds are at right now, that has taken, again, like I said, the collecting world by storm. So this is the Bespin Luke Skywalker. This is a figure from Empire Strikes Back. It's I guess a soft reissue in a sense. It's a brand new figure, a new head sculpt, a lot of new accessories. It's not like a 2-pack like the original DX was. So it's a different figure altogether, but again, like a soft reissue. It's kind of like a Loki's Avengers Endgame type figure. That's kind of how I view it, right? So a lot of people really love this figure. I'm kind of, for lack of a better term, so-so on it. Like I do really like it, but I feel like the head sculpt is not quite a 10. For me, it's like an 8, 8.5, something like that. But Kiko, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this. How are you feeling about this? I know you're a huge Star Wars fan. Are you pretty excited about this Bespin Luke?
Well, there's been so many hot takes over the past 5 days since it's been released. You know, I don't want to rehash too many of them, but the one I saw when I was trolling through Facebook, I think today actually, I saw someone post post their opinion, and I'm going to steal a little bit from them to share my thoughts because I concur with them. Now, I am an owner of the original DX07, and I was able to purchase that, I think, back. I'm not for sure when, but essentially for $500 is what I got the DX07 for, which I thought was a pretty good deal, at the time. Two specific figures, one being the normal, one being the a battle damaged head, all kinds of different things, as well as I do have the exclusive sideshow piece or whatever that comes with the Vader helmet, which is one of the exclusives on this as well. So one of the things they mentioned is that no, it is not better than the DX07. This is a DX release, but I think that term DX is just so overly used, and we really don't know what classifies a DX anymore. It's not the PERS system or the eyes. It's not the features. It's not the box. I mean, what classifies a DX nowadays? I mean, you go back to the original like DX01 and 07. I mean, you get so many different things at that point. But my thing with this is that you are getting so much little for more money if you look at it. And I think that's the issue. For some people out there that do not have the DX07, you really kind of have to start weighing, do you want to go out and get the DX07, get two figures, get a battle damaged body for maybe $100 more or so? Because already the market is already starting to go down on the DX07 because this new update is coming out. And frankly, I've said that the DX07 battle damage head sculpt is probably the best Mark Hamill head sculpt that we've gotten so far. I believe that. The actual head sculpt that came with the DX07 kind of sucked. I'll give you that. I modded mine and put, I think, an indoor Luke on it. I messed around with it to get the one I want. The tailoring on this looks great. The offerings are extremely underwhelming. And I think that's my big takeaway, is that the offerings for the price are so underwhelming. And there's no second body. And when you see Bespin Luke, you think of Empire Strikes Back with, the I am your father line, and he's battle damaged, and that's it. No one really cares about what he did on Dagobah. I mean, there it is. That's the one. That's what you kind of think. And at this moment, this is not a film accurate picture because he has been beaten at this point. That's what Vader says. You are beaten. Don't make me destroy you like Obi-Wan did. And so that's my big beef with it, is I think they are overcharging for it. I know I talked a lot there, but Will, what did you think? I think there's so many people that are just so excited to get this because it was coming on the sideshow, coming soon for 10 years, it seems. And it finally came off. I think that's what people are more excited about. But when you start to break this down, you're really overpaying for something that I don't feel is going to deliver.
Yeah, I'm a little conflicted on it because I do feel like I'm probably going to end up getting it at some point just because it is a Bespin Luke, and I think it's something that a lot of Star Wars collectors feel like they're going to need, including myself. But at the same time, I just feel like this head sculpt is good, but I just feel like Hot Toys is still yet to quite nail Mark Hamill. They're not quite at the point where they're like, you look at this head sculpt and you see a Shang-Chi, you see a Wenwu, you see a Costco Reeves, where you're like, that is Mark Hamill, right? That's the character.
What's weird to me is that no company has ever gotten Mark Hamill right. No company ever has, whether it be a statue, whether it be a figure, Hasbro, Hot Toys, no one's gotten it. And I wonder why that is. I mean, I don't feel like he has that many unique pieces. I mean, the technology is there, you'd think, and the artistry is there. But yeah, once again, they've not been able to capture that. And a lot of people have been freaking out because this is the Mando head sculpt from, the CGI'd version. And we know that because it's from, the DX21 or whatever that one is right now. I'm not for sure what number we're on at this point. But yeah, that's where I'm at with it. I think it's extremely overpriced. And the base isn't locked behind a paywall. You get that regardless. That one's strange to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too, man. And the problem is with the deluxe, if you're going to end up getting the deluxe, I mean, you get the extra helmet, you get the extra base, but do you need two bases? Because most of the time you're really only going to display them with one. Are you going to, are you going to swap him out a lot? Probably not. Probably not. So that's a really fair point, Keco. I hadn't really thought about it too much about the price because I do feel like the prices are just going up, man. Like it's getting to the point where it's a little crazy. And like, I get that, but I do agree with you that it probably is overpriced based on what you're getting. I think maybe we're just like jaded a little bit. We're kind of to the point where it's like, it's so expensive and it's almost like we accept it, even though we know it's overpriced. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the thing going back to bases, and I'm sitting here sounding like I'm just jerking off the DX07 right now. Kind of am. But with that being said, is that you get 3 bases with the DX07. You get the weather vane, which is really
Mhm.
cool. And, one of the things I think really set apart that release, because you can have him, hanging, you can use that as a display, whatever you want it to be. It comes with that kind of carbon freezing floor. It's kind of like a wedge shape. It's not, I think this base, the carbon freezing base is better than that one, but you get that one, but then you get the standard base as well. So you get 3 bases. And for this one, you get 2, kind of, if you want to call it that.
Right. And Keco, my thing is this. I do really think that this is a nice looking figure. I do think it's really well done, but I do feel like it's a little bit overhyped. And I've said that. I'm like, I do think that people, like you said, maybe are a little bit too excited for this because it is Bespin Luke. Again, I just feel like the figure looks great, but the head sculpt is just not, it's not at the level that I want it to be. That's where I feel like
You want some hot fire that I think that I've noticed.
yeah.
If you
What's up?
go to the picture of the broken head sculpt, or the broken Vader face,
Oh
that
yeah,
is
this one.
that is the original head sculpt in there. They just literally, that's not the same head sculpt. That's the original DX07 one. Look at that.
Really?
Look at that.
Okay.
That's the DX, unless they photoshopped it, because that may not even be a real piece. That is the
Yeah.
original DX07 face.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty
So
crazy,
there
dude.
you go.
Seriously, if that is the case, because all they did was maybe like kind of bulge the eyes out a little bit. That's really about
I
it. But
think
I
that's
mean,
a photoshopped piece, because because I have this little piece, it's in my little D-top over there. There is
yeah,
like a severed mark and like a burn part right here, like where it shows like the head, like it looks like a severed head. Look at the bottom there. That's not a real photo. And if you
yeah,
want to start about people scamming on photos, we can talk about Queen Studios and their Gandalf and their fake photos. This is a fake photo.
yeah, yeah. And it's interesting just to see like, I think people's reaction to it, because again, I think we're all really excited for Bespin Luke. Like the only thing they could really do to top this really would be a Bespin Han, because that's something that people really
Which
wanted
people
for
have
a
been
long time
asking
too.
for 15 years.
Yeah, people asking for this for a reissue and for a Bespin Han to make it for the first time. So, but yeah, I mean, I do think it's a good figure. I think it's being a little overrated in terms of how good it is. I do think that it's because it's Bespin Luke, people are more willing to pay whatever it takes to get one. And I totally get that. I'm like that with Loki. I get it. I get
If you
it.
get the
So
deluxe and you pay tax and shipping, you're over $400 on this thing. And you can get the DX07 for around 5 or 6. So you do the math
right,
on
and
what
you
you
get
think
two
is the better
figures.
value, and
Yeah,
you tell me what's the better value for you.
I do think this head sculpt is better than the DX07 though. I do. I
The
do. I
original,
do
not
like
the battle damage, though. The
right,
original,
right.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, like I do think that. Yeah, because this one's I do think is pretty good overall. I just don't think it's great, but. I don't know, man. Like I see Mark Hamill in there from some angles. I really see him. It just depends on the shot. Like that one, I definitely see him. So, but it just I don't know. Something with the hair too, but that angle I don't see it as much. So it just like I don't know. It's just a hard sell for me. And for me, like I'm a very big Star Wars fan, but
Mhm.
I'm probably gonna end up getting this. But to me, man, I want to see how it's gonna turn out in the end. I don't think it's gonna get better than this. I think if anything, it'll just go down. So,
Right. Yeah, I mean, I
so
think the few examples that where a sculpt is improved are few and far between. I mean, they're out there,
right,
certainly. But yeah,
when woo just
we're
happened. Yeah,
correct. But that's still not final product, though. So we'll
yeah, it's
see.
true. Yeah, it's very true. Very true. But yeah, man, Ed, I'm excited to see what they come up with here when it comes out with the final product. But yeah, like we said, Keco, no chance anyone should really pre-order this, in my opinion, if you live in the States. You shouldn't pre-order anything Hot Toys, in my opinion.
No, and that's a topic for another time.
Right, it is, man. But seriously, man, I'm done with those pre-orders. But Carlos said, GTFO, bro. LOL, the day you sell me anything for 1K less than asking, I'll sell Keco the Ecto one. 9K if you change your mind, though.
I'll consider that, man. I appreciate that, Carlos.
Yeah, yeah. Carlos is thanks, Carlos. Appreciate it, man. But you're trolling again. So
It's
that
such a
is what it is.
hard sell that he has there.
I
But we'll see.
know,
We'll
man.
see. We'll wear him down.
Yeah, I know. But like, and Lane asked a good question about how do we compare this to the Mando Luke coming in later this year. I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm getting the Mando Luke, and I'm going to stick with that one for now, just because I love that it comes with the droid. I forget the Dark Trooper, that's like battle damage. I really like that. I like that look.
I think I saw that Mando Luke is $60 less than this.
Yeah, I got to look it up again. Yeah, for sure. But I mean that one for sure was. I mean, it's a nice figure, but you're right. I think it's the exact same head sculpt, if not really close. It's like it's just a different hair. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see, man. I'm excited for people that are going to end up getting this. I think Keco will probably end up being in that boat, I would think. But I guess we'll just find out, right? So, oh, Keco, you're muted. Sorry.
I was on mute. I take that back. The deluxe version is $330 for Mando Luke. The
Okay.
deluxe version for this is $345, so $15 difference. So
Yeah,
$15
but you
more.
get that Dark Trooper battle damage. That's
I know.
I'd rather have
And
that than a second base. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Like
I
I just feel
love
like
that.
the vent base is fine. I think that's perfect. You don't even really need the Dagobah base. I don't feel like I feel like that's excessive. So just to raise the price on the piece, that's really all it was. So, but yeah, man, let's talk about Keco, this DX19 Batman, because this was just released. I've seen some reviews come in, fantastic. I know 6 scale reviews. Dan, I think, did one, and this Batman really, I think, looks quite nice. Except Keco, I want to kind of preface my statements by saying I'm not crazy about the head sculpt. Like I like it. I think it's like
Correct.
a Luke Skywalker level head sculpt. I think it's good, but it's softened big time.
It is, and
It's
he's way
softened big
too
time.
young. He is way too young.
Yeah.
That's
Like if you
Batman
look at that
Begins
compared
phase.
to the proto, Keiko, like the
Yeah.
proto of this Christian Bale, the head sculpt was really, really good. And this is still really good. I still really like it, but it's definitely it took a step down big time. What do you think?
It certainly did, and I know that. And let's keep in mind, we also have the quarter scale that we try to, whenever you have the quarter scale Batmans, everyone always says, well, why can't it look like that head sculpt? And the quarter scale is usually far superior in every aspect because you have bigger media that you're working with, so you can do a lot more with it. So I think it's an unfair comparison when it comes to that. But yeah, I think most people assume the best suit and the best head sculpt is the Batman Armory edition from the Dark Knight. Most people agree that's the best proportions, best head sculpt, all that stuff. And I would tend to agree because although some of the proportions on this suit has changed, the head sculpt has downgraded, in my opinion. Mainly because if you are that type of person and you're like, oh, I need absolute film accuracy, you can't put the Batman Begins head sculpt on this Dark Knight Rises body. It just doesn't make sense to me. You have a little bit older Bale at that point, and so I feel like they kind of missed on the head sculpt. And it's also Batman, so how many people display him without his helmet anyway, without his mask? That's certainly not me. I mean, I have my Christian Bale head in a tub over here, and I'm not going to be doing anything like that. I want my Batman to be Batman, not it is what it is.
Yeah, I think so too, man. To be honest, you're right. I'm not going to use the head sculpt, but I mean, hey, it would be nice if I decided to swap it on there from time to time. It's kind of like
or
most
put it on
Iron
like
Man
a
figures.
Put it like on a body. If you have an extra body with a
or
suit or
maybe
whatever,
you
you can have Bruce Wayne. Yeah,
get like a regular figure with a suit body and put the head on there. You have a Bruce Wayne. Yeah, that's pretty cool. You got a 2-pack at that point. But yeah, I do think it's a really nice looking figure overall. You're right though. Most people are going to get it for Batman, and for the Batman portion of it, I think it looks really, really nice. And I'm getting this. I already pre-ordered it way back when I was actually pre-ordering figures. And I'm excited for it. I got this from Sideshow, I think, and I already paid it off a while back. I think the Batman aspect of this figure looks really, really nice. I do think they nailed that. I think they nailed the cowl, the facial expressions, the armor, the tailoring, like with the cape and everything. Like, I do think it's a really nice looking figure overall. So, dude, it kind of makes me want the Bat Pod. I'm still conflicted though.
I honestly thought about that too. I mean, because I have all the figures or whatever, but I don't have the Bat Pod. And when I saw some of the photos, I'm like, ooh, I see what they're doing now. That's why. It does look good with the pod because there's just that awesome moment in that moment right there, Dark Knight Rises, where they're going through there and all the lights go out. He's like, what's happening? He's like, oh, you're in for a show tonight. And he comes flying out, and that's super cool. I love that moment with the Bat Pod. And then he uses it to trip over the biker and, pick up the data pad. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, because with me, man, I am getting the tumbler, so that's why I can maybe justify not getting the Bat Pod, because I'm like, I'll have the tumbler. I'll have him standing next to the tumbler. It'll look great. But yeah, man, I really like how this figure came out. I do think overall it's a win for Hot Toys, but again, I think the sculpt still good. I get kind of Obi-Wan vibes from it, from Revenge of the Sith. That's what I get from it.
Great point. Yeah,
that's the vibes I get from it. The proto was perfection. It was really, really good, and then it softens a lot. So I think that's what I get from this figure. And unfortunately, that happens from time to time. Like you said, sometimes the sculpt improves, it gets better. Sometimes it gets worse. So, and it's just one of the unfortunate occasions. But I do think it's a really nice looking figure. And I think a lot of people are going to be happy.
And I do
with
like that is that you do have the option for the LED light up eyes. That's really cool. I think that's a great feature.
Yeah, I think so too. And I really like the base with the steps. I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. I don't think I'm going to use the swap out faceplates that much. I never tend to use those with my figures that much. Like
no, I kind of I have the smart, because that's one thing I said about the DX12 is that the faceplates were kind of sucky. And so I just kind of get the one where he's doing like the smirk, because the other ones of him, I mean, that's some of the worst ones ever. But yeah, I do love the faceplates on this one for sure. But yeah, once I find the one I want, that's kind of the one I go with.
Yeah, that's how I feel too, man. So I'm definitely just going to stick with probably the stoic look, so to speak, and just roll with that. And yeah, man, I'm excited to get this figure. And we're obviously getting. I think you're getting the Queen Studios Joker 2-pack, right? Yeah.
Oh
See,
yes,
so
you
we're
made
gonna have
sure of
that.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I catch the blame for that one. Dude, do you have Two
Did
Face? Because I have Two Face.
I do? Yeah, I have the
Yeah, that's a
2.0
really
version.
underrated figure.
It is, and I think most people it's all cyclical. Once one figure sells out, everyone wants the other ones, and then it goes super high up in value. The original Two Face, the original Joker, way back in the day before they even did the 2.0, I mean, they were really poor figures. I mean, they were still trying to figure out the technologies and things like that. But yeah, that new one, I mean, that's Aaron Eckhart sculpt. I mean, the tailoring is fantastic. I love the melted parts of the suit. So yeah, that Two Face is a solid figure. The only figure I have that I'm disappointed in still is my Bane, because I need a better body. But if you can,
Right.
if you want to do the body mod, I mean, I think it's a great figure, great tailoring, all that stuff.
Yeah, and I'm surprised they actually showed the old Bane in these photos.
Yeah.
They used the old Bane and maybe not. I'm assuming they're working on a new one. And if they're working on a new one and it looks like this, they're going to piss off a lot of people.
Right.
You cannot release the same Bane with the joints again. Like that's, or if you do, give them swappable arms. Give them swappable arms with seamless, and then you can put some with jointed too. Give them that, but do not release the same Bane with the same arms again, because people are going to be upset. So that's a figure that needs a reissue, but a remake of sorts. That's how I feel about it. So, but I'm excited for it. If they make a Bane, I'm going to get it. So,
Let the games begin.
Classic Bane reference, dude. Love it. So, but yeah, man, I think we'll put a cap on this one. But I do love this Batman. I do think overall it's going to be really nice. So I'm excited to get it, and hopefully it'll come to the States here sooner rather than later. But I guess we'll find out. Keco, there's something else we got to talk about, bro. And you know what I'm bringing up here.
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah, because this is something that I think a lot of people maybe haven't seen yet. It's from Queen Studios. It's a quarter scale Captain America, and Spec Fiction has it for about $600. Right, I'm gonna zoom in a bit here just so people can see it a little bit better. So this is a quarter scale Captain America. This is obviously from Captain America: The Winter Soldier. This was like maybe the strike suit or something. I forget which suit it was.
It's my favorite suit in the entire MCU franchise. The stealth strike suit,
dude, and they barely used it. They barely used it, and it's
because I also love when they had like the blue shield. They have the comic inaccurate shield here, but man, I love that blue shield.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. And dude, I just think they did a really good job with this figure. The proportions, the sculpted nature, the pose, the shield. I think this looks really good. And the best part about it, it's $600.
It's a killer steal. That's a great deal.
Loki's $1,100. As much as I love Loki, yeah, he has rooted hair and leather materials. That's great, and a light up base, but you're paying like twice as much almost. So
yeah, and the only thing with that, and I think they said there's no material on this. It's all painted in like poly or whatever. Yeah, it's sculpted. So that is a negative if you want to view it like that. But I mean, look at that pose, look at that presence. You're not getting a quarter scale figure from Hot Toys that will look this good, or even under that price point. It just ticks all the boxes for me when it comes to that, and it looks incredible.
Yeah, I think it does too, the man. And for this one, I don't feel like I need mixed media for this. I think sculpted is fine for this. He's in a nice, simple museum walking pose. $600. It's very bite sized. That's like $600 is no chump change, but that's sideshow prices. I mean, the premium format Kylo Ren and Rey cost more than that. So, I think Queen Studios really, hit a home run here, because they delivered something that is a really good statue for a really good price. And I think that's what's really going to lure people in. So I'm very tempted by it. I really liked it when I saw it for the first time, but I wasn't sure, because I thought it maybe be like 900. That was my guess. Like maybe like 900, and then 300 came less. And I was like, no, I'm a little more tempted.
Are there any concerns that you would have with the final production paintwork on something like this? Because there is no mixed media. It's all just one solid piece. Is there any concerns that you've seen recently or in the past that would negate, going in on that with some quality
I don't think so, Keco. I don't think so. Just because I feel like it's a really nice piece overall. Queen Studios tends to pretty much deliver more often than not. Yeah, sometimes the face sculpt can soften a little bit, but the good thing is he's behind a mask. So the fact that he's behind a mask, that really helps. You're only really painting like half of a face. And so as long as you do that somewhat decent, then I think Queen Studios can do that. And I think they'll deliver something good. Because even this sculpt, it's really good. Like I see Chris Evans in there, but it's not 100.
Right. But there's no chance you're walking by and say, who is that character? I mean, who it is, and you know where it's from.
Exactly. And that's Chris Evans, it's Captain America. But yeah, man, I definitely think this is a pretty exciting piece. So I'm excited to see, what they do with it. But I'm very tempted by this. Keco, do you think you're going to end up with this one?
Well, I know you and I will be talking about it a little bit later on about statues and the desire
Yeah.
for those and things like that. This is the perfect size if you're going to be kind of getting into a statue game and such, because you and we can talk about it a little bit later when we get into that, kind of deciding where you're going to go in the statue world. This is the perfect size because it's
Mhm.
bigger than a figure. It's not overly comically huge to where you don't have display options for it, and it gives you everything you want at a price point that's affordable and that makes sense. You're obviously getting something that is extremely a high piece of work of art, very good price, and if you want to even if you, I know someone in the chat was saying this may be my first figure, give it a shot. I mean, I don't think there's any downside to any of that. If you have, some spare capital around, got your tax refund check or anything like that, see if this might be something you want to add to your collection for sure.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I think it's really nice. Like I said, it comes in at a really good price. So I think I agree with the majority here that it is a steal for 600. Best Car Kid said it's a steal for 600. I agree, man. I think it is too. Like I said, you're getting, I think, better than Sideshow quality for Sideshow prices. So, like
Oh
I
yeah,
said, as
absolutely.
much as I love the Kylo and Rey characters, I don't really love those premium format statues that much, and they are more expensive than this. So,
Do we know that I think you have spec fiction behind it? Is it still free shipping on this or no?
no. Yep. So this would be 605 for full pay plus shipping. So we don't know what shipping will be. I can't assume it's more than like $100. I don't think it's going to be that much. Yeah, that's a lot of money. So maybe you'll pay 700 out the door.
I
So
mean, that's still nothing. I mean, you're paying 35, $40 depending on where you are if you're getting just a figure from Sideshow. I mean,
right.
this is a very nice statue. This is beautiful.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think, like I said, Queen Studios really hit a home run here. Maybe it's because they made it this because the suit is not as desirable as maybe like Endgame or something along those lines. But they made a half scale Captain America for like what, 2,200. So that's really good nowadays. J&D's third scale and they're charging more than that. So I do think that this Captain America is pretty sweet. So yeah, man, I'm excited to see how it comes out, but I forget when the release window actually is. Oh, Q2 2023. So it's quite a
Right.
ways away. It's at least a
We
year
got about a
away.
year. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the Loki, I think, is Q3 of next year. So that one's going to take some time for sure. So I already full paid it, but we'll see how
You
that
got to
one's
get that
going.
sheep hair embedded in there. It takes a little bit
I
longer,
know,
right?
dude. It's the sheep wool hair. The
Yeah.
sheep wool hair.
They got to find the sheep. You got to shear the sheep, dye it,
Yeah.
plug it in. I mean, it's quite a
Yeah.
production, man, what they're doing
It's quite
for
the
you there.
process, dude, for Loki, but he deserves it. He's Loki after all.
He
So,
does.
yeah.
He does. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So it's exciting. I think it's really cool. Kiko, I want to hit something real quick because Prime
Yeah.
One announced today that there's actually going to be another Prime One showcase. So I want to show something real quick. I want to introduce their little video they showed here. They teased a few things about what they'd be showing at their showcase. It's actually coming up on April the 24th, but I think it's going to be April the 23rd for us. And it's 10 a.m. I think Japanese Standard Time, if I remember correctly. So I think that's 9 p.m. Eastern on the 23rd. That's my best guess. When I ran it through Google and I looked up a time converter, that's what I found. So they teased a lot of
Not
cool
bad.
things here. There's like Batman, Green Lantern, things like that. Kiko, is there anything like you want to see from Prime One or you're expecting to see from this showcase on the 23rd?
Well, the one that's on the screen right now is the one that caught my attention, that being the Transformers logo.
Oh, okay.
And all I know is that there are some incredible pieces already from the Transformers franchise out there.
Mhm.
And spoiler alert. So if you saw that I had a bunch of extra reward points on Sideshow that were about to expire and they didn't have anything in stock, well, I was able to find some things that were in stock. And I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole and I was able to pick up some Transformer pieces with my Sideshow points. Those are coming in. So I'm a big Transformers guy as well, especially people shit on them. But I love the Michael Bay films. I really do. I mean, that was, I was kind of my early 20s, if I've got the weekend off, am I going to go to the movie theater, with some friends, watch some Transformers? Yeah, that's what I was going to do. And so they have a special place in my heart, and they've made some really, really cool statue pieces, from the Transformers line. So I would love to kind of see what they have there, if they're going to kind of branch into stuff from The Last Night or going back to the originals, Dark of the Moon, Revenge of the Fallen. There's so many options from the Transformers franchise, and they sell. They really do. And then they do have an opportunity. I think you even said that there was right there, some Resident Evil type things.
Yeah.
I think a lot of fan bases are going to get their happy bone tickled, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, dude, I think so too, man. These showcases are really cool, and I think what Queen Studios did recently, they clearly took a page out of Prime One's playbook. That's exactly what they did. And I really like that because I think we've all said in the community we like these showcases. Yeah, we don't need them all the time, but they are nice. They get us excited. We can all come together. We can sit, basically, like it's
Yeah,
almost like
they're
going to the
hype
movie
pieces.
theater
They're
online.
hype pieces.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're hype pieces. Like we can all sit around online, get our popcorn, and hang out and watch this display of amazing pieces together. So
Right.
even if you're not a statue collector, it's fun to watch these and see what they reveal. Now you know what I'm hoping for, Last of Us, because they already
Yeah.
teased they have Last of Us 1 and 2. Of course, I'm hoping for Last of Us 1 stuff, which I know they're going to make, just a matter of time. So I really hope that they show something in this showcase that is related to The Last of Us or something else that I want to see. I know they teased also a Sub-Zero from the Mortal Kombat film. Super excited for that. I really
From
like
the
that
new
film a lot.
film?
Yeah, I really liked it. A
Okay.
lot of people don't.
Cool.
I loved it. So I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan, so I loved it. They showed a Sub-Zero from the new film. I know they're probably going to do a Scorpion too. So those two would be pieces that I'm probably going to end up with.
Would they
Because
be
I really
companion pieces, kind of like the Revan Malik type of thing?
or like the
Nice.
Kratos and Balder. I think that's how they're
Right,
going to do
right,
it.
right,
I think
yeah.
they're going to have like a diorama of those two fighting, and you could put them together. And I think that's what I want to do. Yeah. So I'm really excited about because that Kratos and Balder makes for an amazing display. Like when you
It
put
really
them together.
does. And I know I keep getting ahead of us, but I mean, that's something that, the statue game offers that is
Mhm.
really cool. And one of the aspects I love about that collecting is your display options. And you can get some really dynamic moments to where they're almost like breathtaking in a way, when you can
Yeah.
see those pieces of art displayed like that.
Yeah, I think so too, man. So I'm excited. So I will let people know, whoever wants to join can join me. I'm probably going to do a live stream live while Prime 1 live streams their showcase. So if it starts at 9, hopefully maybe we can go until like maybe, I think it'll go like maybe an hour or two. So like I'd love to like stream it and just share their video. And, if they copyright claim me, that's fine. They can take their earnings from it. I really don't mind. Because
A
really just
pirate's
fun to
life for
hang out.
you, eh, Will?
Exactly. Pirate's Life. Oh, I can do it. Absolutely, dude. I don't know if that was a good pirate impression, but we'll go with it. Hey, that's more like the Fonz. It's fine.
Not bad.
We'll go with it. But dude, I'm excited for this. I'm really excited to see just what happens with it. And yeah, I'm, looking forward to it. But Keco, I got to get us into some serious topics, bro. We got to
Yeah,
hit
man.
some,
I love when we bring the heat here.
we got to bring some heat, bro. So, because we talked about Prime 1, right? So we talked about like statues and just how exciting they can be if you have multiple ones in a display, a diorama type display. What kind of things statue can do that maybe figures aren't quite as successful at, or, things that they offer that maybe 6 scale and Hot Toys don't quite offer, right? So for me, I love statues. I also love Hot Toys. You can see I have a lot of Hot Toys behind me. I have way more Hot Toys than I do statues. And there's a reason for that. They're cheaper. They take up less space. They look fantastic. There's so many good options. Statues, you have to be really cautious and careful about what you're picking because take up a lot of space, a lot of money. If you want to resell it, it's not exactly easy. So you really got to be sure that you want that piece so that hopefully you're going to end up keeping it. Yeah, I've sold some statues. And a lot of times you end up sometimes taking a loss on it. And Hot Toys you do too nowadays, but if you bought it at retail, but shipping can be a killer sometimes. So getting in the statue game is nothing to scoff at, essentially, right? So Keco, I know you have a few statues. Like, what do you think would make you get more into the statue game? Like, what do they have to do? What do they have to offer you to entice you to really get more statues?
Well, I might really pull out the big guns here if Hot Toys keeps doing their bullshit. That would make me want to go down a route to where I'm feeling that not my investment, but my time is going to be worthwhile. There is just too many options out there that are being unfulfilled at this moment. And so too many pre-orders, just being honest. And there's too many things in the pipeline. But with statues, it's very selective. We have these big showcases coming up. You see the pipelines of, Queen, of, J&D, things like that. And they're manageable. I understand they're smaller companies, but you can get hype and look forward to 5 pieces as opposed to 135 pieces, because it starts to lose that allure. I don't really care for my 5th iteration of a stormtrooper or a tank trooper, from Hot Toys or something like that. But when they say, okay, here is a strike suit Captain America quartered edition for the price of 2 Hot Toys. Okay, now you have my attention because that is something that's going to be appealing to me. It is something that I can honestly say I feel is a better value. And at the end of the day, you can say, wow, I have a Captain America piece that really has a moment that I can look back to and say, that's one of my coolest moments in the MCU. I look at a tank trooper that's sitting up there against the Meditov that I don't care about next to a mustard trooper and a a Tusken Raider, and I don't care anymore. And honestly, I'm getting a little bit burnt out on some of those options. But things like this, display pieces to that have gravitas to it, if I'm allowed to say that. I think that's kind of what would make me go down it even more. And the other thing, and I know this sounds silly, but I like having things that other people don't have. And
Yeah.
maybe that aspect of, commercialism is starting to seep a little too much into hot toys. I'm going to sound like an old man here. Remember when Apple used to be the cool thing to have, and only the elite had Apple products back in the day? Now everyone's got an iPhone and everyone's got a Mac computer. And I just feel like, I'm not trying to be an elitist by any means, but I don't want what everybody else has. And statues really, as you said, causes you to stop, think, and say, okay, this is a big purchase. It's almost like you're buying like a small version of, it's a major purchase. It's like that, whether you're buying a house, a car, or a statue. You need to think through this. Is this something I really want to have? Because every statue I have in my collection, I am happy to say that I own it. I don't plan on moving it out. I don't want to move it out. And every time, I've told you this before, when people come in, everyone gravitates towards the statues and said, this is probably my favorite piece you have.
Yeah. And that's the thing, Keco. And that's exactly where I was going to go if you didn't. Statues, because I have a handful of them now. I have maybe 10 to 12, something like that. So I have a pretty decent amount of them at this point. Obviously, I have way more hot toys. I have probably, I don't know, 50
but 10 or 12
toys.
statues, that's a shit ton for real.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's definitely a lot, dude. Especially, dude, these are all quarter scale or third scale. I have one half scale, which is the Pennywise. But dude, it's just a thing, because I think Carlos or someone asked me, I think it was Carlos who said, maybe just name the top 10 collectibles in your collection and what you had. If you could name 10 collectibles and you could only keep these and you had to sell the rest of them. And I went there and listed off 10 statues. So that was my point. I love the hot toys. I don't know if I'll ever stop getting hot toys completely, because I really, really like them. And they're just incredible value for the most part. Yeah, we sometimes bitch about they go up in price. Yeah, because they are expensive and they're probably overpriced. But at the same time, you're getting something really, really good. So I don't know. It's a balance, right? But I do understand the Luke Bespin Luke. It's $345 for a figure. That's a little bit pricey now, especially when this Captain America is $600. So that's kind of the range, like you said, where maybe they'll start to entice people like yourself who maybe collect more figures.
Yeah, it's going to come down to, dollars and cents, because when you have a set amount in your budget and you say, okay, here's my disposable income of things that I want to do, after I take care of my bills and my family and all that stuff, where do I want to put this? Do I want to put it towards 3 more Stormtrooper figures, or do I want to put it into something really cool, like this, like a Loki statue or something like that, to where people walk in and say, wow, what the hell is that? It's cool. And that's really makes me want to think through. I mean, I have a lot of figures just like you, but it really does make me say, if can I maintain this pace and I'm currently at. I'm actually working on. Hello, Drago. I'm actually working on another video called The Evolution of the Collector. And is, statue collecting kind of the ultimate evolution of collecting? Some would maybe consider that, because you can't really go much higher than that other than, 1/1 replicas of things. Right. So it's something to really consider for sure.
Yeah, I think so too, man. It just, when I'm looking at statues like this Sauron, for example, yeah, it's really pricey. I mean, you're paying, I think I paid probably $1,600 out the door for it, right? It's very pricey. That's probably nowadays 5 hot toys, right? So that's definitely something you really have to be positive about. You really can't go into it with any sort of uncertainty. You can't really waffle back and forth on it, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, if you get it and then you like it, and then maybe in 6 months you might be like, I want something else though, right?
What's the scale on this Sauron?
Quarter scale. So he's quarter, but he's dude, he's quarter scale, and he's the same size as half scale Pennywise.
Right, because he's like a Thanos-sized character.
Yeah, he's like a Thanos-sized character, exactly. So he's massive. So, but for sure, man, he's just a really badass. These are the type of statues I think that you look at and you're just like, these things. This took me an hour to put together. So
really I never knew a statue took that long,
dude. And maybe I just really suck at it. That could be very much true. But because I've done some live unboxings where I put things together, like Baldur, for example, and it definitely took me a while. So. But I will say
this about statues as well, is that it is a little bit of a hassle, especially some of the bigger ones, because they're also not light either. And when you're trying to get the pegs in and all those things, that my Venom that I had, my 1/3 Venom, that is a beast of a figure. When you're holding this giant torso, trying to get this little peg into that little bottom hole, that's a little bit daunting sometimes. And I never ask anybody for help. So, Yeah, I can see that being an issue for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, man. But for sure, it's definitely just an amazing piece. And like the J&D statues, the Queen statues that we're seeing, just they're competing and they're really showing each other really what they can do. And Hot Toys is starting to feel that competition a little bit. But yeah, I don't know with In Art or Queen, but we'll see how that shakes out. Carlos, thanks much for the super chat. I got my J&D Joker, and let me say statues are like no Hot Toys on a different level. Yeah, probably just because of the size of the canvas, like Keco was talking about. Like you have a bigger canvas to work with, so you can show more detail and express more art in there. So yeah, it's cool.
But I will say it's not always a
No, not
one
always.
for one that work out great, because we've all seen that sideshow Dark Knight Joker that I'm not for sure who that is, because we've all talked about that. So it's not a 100% always great, better
Yeah.
upgrade, but if the good companies do it right.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. They do. Absolutely. So, but yeah, man, I'm just excited to see what the game is like. But I think it's really nice to have a well-rounded collection. So I don't think I'd want to go all statues, definitely not anytime soon, because I love my Hot Toys. They're great. Like I said, there's a bunch behind me. So I really do love them. But there's just some of the statues, man. I tend to prefer those because also Keco, I don't really like posing. I'm not a poser. So
Yeah.
I don't really enjoy it.
I'm a poser in every aspect of the word, so.
Me too, man. Just in like middle school and high school, that was it. So when I was skater boy and all that shit.
You were skater boy?
Bro. Yeah, dude, I was. I'll have to show you a
nice,
picture.
okay.
Like I was like I had like long blonde hair and shit, and I used to.
So that like a little, I guess, character that you did not too long ago, video that you sent. So that was kind of like
that was my real
version.
hair, yeah.
Okay, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Just under the hat, you just never realized it. Nah, bro. But no, seriously, I used to like, and when I was like, I used to work at PacSun. I don't know if people know what that is, but it was like a surf clothing shop store, and I was in the band phase, dude. I was playing music. I had like straightened hair and stuff, so like I was, the women were into it at the time.
That, yeah.
That's all they can say. Yeah, the women were into it at the time, dude. So it is what it is. But yeah, man, the statue game is definitely booming right now, as are a lot of things. So but Keco, I gotta ask you a question, bro, because I feel like I'm going to be interviewing you at this point. This is going to be like a job interview. Hopefully,
I love this.
Just send me the resume, like send me the cover letter, 3 references, which might be like, I don't know, Carlos and a few others, but we'll see, dude.
I don't think Carlos isn't going to give me high glowing recommendations by any means.
Yeah, Carlos is going to give you a good reference, dude. But I got to ask you a question, Keco. So what do you think your greatest strength as a collector is? And I want to ask people in the chat too, and see if they want to share their thoughts on this one. Like, what do you think they think their greatest strength as a collector is? So Keco, I'll let you go first because honestly, I have not thought of a response for this one. So I want to put you on the spot first and then let me go after. So what do you think? What do you think is your greatest strength?
So I really think, to me, is that I'm willing to learn from some of the stupid stuff I've done. And I learned, that was terrible English, by the way. I'm willing to learn from the stupid things I've done. There we go.
There you go.
And so I learn from mistakes. And I also listen to other people that have done some of those things before, and I try to avoid that. And I try to do a lot of research when I get into something. I don't just, I've been influenced before. We all have. We've made some poor choices. I told you on our last time, I completely made a mistake with those Power Rangers, and I still am bleeding red on that spreadsheet because of the Power Rangers.
There's so much red. Can you really wipe out that much red?
You would think, but I've learned from that. Yeah, it's very sad. Anyway, so with that being said, is that I've tried to never repeat the same mistakes collecting. Try not to get down a rabbit hole of just buying to buy. I never try to get into something to where if I really don't have an attachment to something, there's no reason for me to get it anymore. I used to just get, and that's not a good thing, but I've learned from that. And so I think in a nutshell is I don't want to be looked at. I don't want to waste money. That comes down to it. And so if it's something that I'm going to end up regretting, Power Rangers, or I'm going to, I want to get ahead of that beforehand. So I'm going to not make the same mistakes twice.
So I think Keco, mine kind of ties into yours. I think really I think we're both pretty solid. And I think a lot of people are really getting good at just from like talking to each other and really just learning more about the collecting game and just, interacting and engaging. I think that adaptability is big, like being able to adapt to what the market is telling you. Like I said, to me at this point, if you're in a different country and you have to pre-order Hot Toys, it's different. Like you have to discount kind of what we say to a degree because we're kind of looking through the lens of the US, right? We're looking through our options through Hong Kong resellers. We're looking through our options through Sideshow and other distributors and, Comic Concepts, Alter Ego, whatever, right? There's so many good options. So to me, I think adapting to what we're seeing, we're looking at the market, we're saying like, hey, like there's no reason to pre-order anymore. Like there's just not, there's no incentive. You're locked in. You're really like committing to something that you might not want in 2.5 years. Like I think the adaptability and also like you said, I really like the idea of like refining your taste, like really looking at what you have and being like, okay, like, I don't, I'm kind of understanding what I like and what I really want to spend money on. And I think what I like to do is being more selective, because what I used to do is feel that temptation and just throw the money out and be like, okay, I'm going to go over my budget a little bit and get the Bat Pod, right? Even though I kind of want the Bat Pod, I like the Bat Pod, but really what's helped me is to look at what my yearly budget is and see that I'm like, okay, I have a little bit left in my yearly budget. Do I really want to throw that budget on the Bat Pod? Because I like it, but do I like these other things more? And that's my thing. Like the anomalies that pop up are the biggest thing that I think are super important, because the anomalies are, again, the unexpected. So preparing for the unexpected, that's my biggest lesson learned. That's, I think, my greatest strength that I've learned from even watching Denobi and you and others, right, who have talked about this, saying like, hey, the anomalies pop up. What are you going to do then? Did you spend all your money already? Did you already place your bets on something else? And that's the problem. Like I said, when Loki, that statue pops up out of nowhere, right? And I full paid it. I dropped $1,000, $1,100 on it. Like if I had been buying bat pods and other things that I didn't really want because I was just looking to buy something, I wouldn't have money to do that, right? Or the Queen Studios Joker.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's the kind of stuff
why
I think is important.
Yeah, that's why I can't pay 10,000 for the Ecto One, simply because for those
Just
same
25.
reasons.
Carlos, sell this goddamn man the Ecto One for 2,500. Stop fucking around. Like no more 3,500. Sell him for 25. Come on now. Keco,
Will,
I'm
you're
telling
such an
bro.
ambassador for me,
dude. Because like Carlos he's trolling, bro. It's 2,500. Sell it to Keco. He's a true G. Like just give this man his Ecto One. Let everyone.
Yeah, we know where you are. Well, friends and family, and it's all good.
Yeah, friends and family.
But
free shipping.
I hope so. Yeah, it better be a part of that as well. Yeah, we're not paying. He's like, yeah, 2,500 for the thing, and then 6,000 for shipping. Oh, because let's cut that off right now. But no, also one of the things I wanted to say about a great strength is knowing your limits. I think as well is that I feel like during the we're still in the. I don't know if we are anymore or not, but during the height of pandemic time, we really tried to feed our appetite and our desire to do things. And that's where a lot of people got into the collecting game. And so they're like, I have nothing to do. I'm going to go online, look at some things. I've seen some videos of people with these really cool looking figures or statues. Sweet, I'll get one. Then you get one. And you're like, oh, this is cool. Now give me 75 more of them, or give me 75 pre-orders, because you and I were talking about the grids, where people's like, hey, I got these 57 items on pre-order. Which one did you have? That type of thing. I'm like, oh, sweet. But yet knowing your limits of, we've talked about this a lot, of your budgets and getting things for you, and don't get things simply because, well, I've not bought anything in a while. I need to buy something. No, there's no need for that.
That totally happens.
So I think those are important things as well.
I think so too. And I do want to give a shout out to AJ. For AJ, thanks so much. He dropped a $5 super chat. AJ seriously means a lot, man. You and Carlos both. Seriously, guys, thanks for the support. I love these in-depth philosophical topics. Keep them coming, Will. Thanks, man. I always like hearing that type of feedback, because I always love talking about these things myself, and I know you do, Keco, too. But I don't know how much everyone else likes hearing them, just because I know most people like the philosophical, talks, but some people maybe just want to hear about the figures and they just want to hear about the news, and that's great too. We hit on that, but I really like looking at the big picture stuff too, to understand like why we're doing things and how we can better our collecting. Not saying we're the ambassadors of good collecting,
right? But I've known this quite a bit, is that there's plenty of a lot of the same stuff out there. If you want to see what a figure looks like unboxed, you can find that. If you want to find, all the same videos out there, you can. And I like these type of topics to where you are giving something different, kind of like with the collecting. I want to collect things that are different than other people, and I want to talk about things that other people won't talk about as well. Sometimes the hard things, that people don't want to talk about, and I'm happy to do that.
Right. Me too, man. Hey, that's why we're a good tag team, bro. We got this. We're like the Dudley boys at this point. So that's us, bro.
Get the tables.
True, get the tables. We're gonna slam collecting through a table, bro. That's gonna be us. So yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. But Keco, I want to ask you something else too. So I think maybe we've talked about this a little bit before, but using your collection to fund your collection. So the way I tend to do this, before I introduce and throw it to you here, like I tend to give myself a yearly budget, right? So I actually talked to Optical, and I think to Carlos about this a little bit too, about in terms of what I do and how I approach it. I have a yearly budget. It's a percentage of my salary, of my take home. I know exactly what I can allot myself in a given year. But if I sell some things, I can buy some things maybe and not count it in the budget, so to speak, because it's like kind of like I'm trading, right? That's kind of how I've done it. So there's two ways of doing it. You could sell things and then still keep your yearly budget and say, this is what I'm spending no matter what. But for me, I tend to like give myself a little leeway where I'm just like, okay, like if I sold like a couple $1,000s worth of things, right, then I'll definitely go and be like, okay, like I can now spend a couple $1,000s more if I want on my yearly budget. So I tend to use my collection to fund my collection. I had a great purge recently where I sold a bunch of stuff because originally I remember I was thinking about getting that Loki bus for $4,000. Remember, that's why I was selling a bunch of things, and then I decided not to get it. So then I was like, well, now I sold a bunch of stuff and I have a bunch of money. So I basically just pocketed it and I bought the Loki statue with it. So that's kind of how I did it. But do you sell things to like, I know the Power Rangers you took a bath on, but like anything else, do you sell things to fund other things? Like, how do you normally approach that?
Yeah, so I've got this ain't a flex by any means, but I've gotten to the point where I'm kind of out of room, and so outside of building more house, which not really an option unless I build a new house. I'm gonna have to get to the point to where if I'm gonna put something into the collection, something's got to go. So to me, I have to say, here is what I have. And if I want something new, something else has to go. It just has to. And that's the way I kind of look at it. But yeah, I have used such as, the 2012 the 2012, in-game Captain America, the real red and blue one, the Avengers 1 cap.
Yeah.
I had the original one and I said, okay, I don't need two of these. And so I want this one and this one's gone. And I went ahead and put that on eBay, sold it, and that went towards the new purchase. And now I have an updated figure. So yeah, I mean, yes and no. I don't use it to get new pieces, but when it doesn't make sense to keep a lot of pieces in there for no reason, you need to kind of go and cycle through. And as I've said before, when you walk in there and if you see something that is not moving you and you're not excited about it anymore, it's time to possibly box it up. See if you want to unbox it after that. And if you're still not feeling it, let it hit it on eBay, Mercari, whatever, Facebook Marketplace, and then move it out. And then you can obviously then have extra money to do with whatever you want. Get something that then does move you. And so I necessarily don't use my collection to fund the collection, but I use it cyclically, because if there's things that aren't speaking to me anymore, it's time to move it on.
Yeah. And Keco, the rule that I tend to like to follow is if you walk in your collection room and you look at everything and you say, oh, I forget I had that, it's time to go. That's my point.
Absolutely.
That's because I've done it many times. I've gone through and be like, oh, shit, I forgot I had that in my collection. I think it's time to sell it then. You could also maybe look at reposing it. If it's a figure, you could go through and be like, okay, I'm going to go through and repose this thing and maybe give it a new dynamic pose or something that'll re-spark the, the passion for the figure. You could totally do that too. That could be something that you're looking at, right? But I mean, it just depends. For me, if it's a statue, for example, and I go past it, I'm like, okay, like I still really like that. That's pretty cool. But I don't really need it anymore because new things come out that you're going to like. There's always going to be something that's new, that's shiny, that you want in your collection. Like you said, if you're out of room, which a lot of us are, so we run out of space more quicker than we run out of money, it seems like, which is crazy. But it seems to work.
That is definitely true.
So, but I think using your collection to fund your collection is just smart. If you have all the room in the world and all the money in the world, then by all means go for it. But I say that if you have finite space and you have finite disposable income, then I just feel like it's smart to offload things to bring in new things. So
and I can't say this enough, is that if there's something sitting in your collection that you don't know why you have it in there, let that be an opportunity to be a learning moment to say, why did I get this in the first place? Let's not do this again because it's a poor choice. Someone manipulated you or you gave in to peer pressure, whatever it may be. Don't do that. And then you can learn from it. And then you can say, okay, now, and that technically gives you more money in your pocket because you stop making the bad decisions as well. So you're already saving money because you're not making poor decisions. So it all works itself out, but always take inventory of the actual pieces, as well as the personal inventory to see, what it is that brings you the joy. Because if you're not getting joy out of this stuff, if you're doing it to impress people, wrong thing, man.
Right, definitely wrong reasons for sure. So there's a couple super chats I want to hit before we move on to the next topic. Fat Batman's Collecting Nightmare. Love that username, by the way. A great conversation is never a bad thing, and this is certainly a great combo. Thanks so much, man. Seriously, and thanks for the support. I appreciate you guys. Really does mean a lot. And of course, we got Carlos, 8K for Ecto1. Thanks so much, Carlos, funding that 1-to-1 full-size Mark III. Yeah, Carlos is getting into life-size stuff, Keco, so maybe that's why he's trying to sell you for an exorbitant price. But
well, I'm just saying, we've already dropped the price, $2,000 on this stream alone.
Right.
So
all we gotta do is keep at it, and it'll keep dropping it. So.
Yeah, eventually we'll be right down to retail. So I'll just keep this going.
Yeah, exactly, dude. We got to keep it rolling. But Kiko, I want to ask you something too, because you mentioned something earlier that I think was really interesting. You said you like having something that other people don't have, and I think that's a sentiment that I do understand. Like I tend to like in my collecting nowadays, I tend to not be that way. I tend to be like, okay, like this is kind of cool. It's nice having a statue, I guess, that's limited, so to speak, like a J&D or something. Because it's kind of cool to be like, okay, like I have something pretty rare and unique and special, right? I have that diamond in the rough. But I don't. How do you feel about reissues? Because Hot Toys seems to do it a lot. And to be honest, I want to throw this out there so people know. There was a lot of outrage about the Queen thing and opening up the pre-order again for 3 days. When John from Queen Studios was on our show, he definitely did not rule out reissues. So when I asked him about reissues, or someone did, Anthony or somebody, someone on our show asked him, we were like, what do you feel about reissues? He's like, well, if we can do the figure better, like, you know, maybe there's an opportunity for it. That's not at all saying we won't do reissues. So, in my opinion, I think that's just part of the game. Statues, even if it's not a reissue, it's a soft reissue because what they'll do is they'll take that character, put him in a different pose, and make a new statue. That's what they'll do. So,
Yeah.
I think even if like no collectible in that range is going to get crazy prices. Like nothing's going to become a rocket firing Boba Fett where you're going to get it to like 300, 400,000 millions of dollars, right? It's just not going to happen. So, because say that J&D Joker, the Heath Ledger gets to $10,000, they'll get the license right again and make another one. So in a different pose. So that's just what they'll do. So Kiko, how do you feel about reissues? Like, do you think does it bother you? Is something you care about?
Yeah, it does.
Mm,
Obviously, because I do want something that someone doesn't have. I have that little bit of
mm.
elitism in me. You know, I,
That's
I'll
fair.
say that all the time. Is that I don't want and also this comes down to making the poor choices. I have overpaid for things on the secondary market, and when I say, okay, I'm making a sacrifice and I'm paying X amount of dollars for this figure, it's mine now because supply and demand. I paid this much money for this figure, I have it now, and then it's a punch in the balls. In 6 months, hey, Hot Toys is proud to announce the 3.0 version of fill in the blank figure. That's a punch in the balls because you're like, okay, that's cool. Yeah, now this is not that it's worthless, but it makes it feel that the shine has rubbed off, and you're like, okay, this isn't as cool anymore. But I know that this is capitalism. This is market. That's the way it works. Is that if they want to make money, they're going to make money. So especially with something that is mass produced, you will always have that. And going back to the statues game, statues are not mass produced. Usually they are numbered. I am proud to say, that some of my statues alone are, 130 of 400, X of 500. I like being able to say that. And I think that's also what a disservice to some of our 6 scale figures is that no one knows how many there are out there.
Right.
And that also probably hurts the market to a degree because no one knows if there's 10 zillion of them out there or not. But this was one that is probably the prime example is that this was $1,200 that Iron Man Mark 47 at one point, which I think is insanity for a diecast figure. And then this came out, and it's still sitting on Sideshow's website at this point, which is crazy to me as well. So I understand that for some people, like, well, I wasn't in the collecting game when this came out. Okay, well, figure out some stuff, sell some things. If you really want it, go chase. This may be really dark, but I remember when
Let's hear
uh,
it.
on Denobi's channel, he was saying that he hopes that the market crashes and all this stuff goes down, and that Hot Toys goes out of business because then there are no more, and then there are a finite amount. There's no more Yandus coming out. There's no more you have them all and there's not going to make any more. And so you don't have to worry about that. I'm not wishing anybody to be out of jobs by any means. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it allows you to say, okay, fine. There's definitely no more reissues coming out now. So now I have them all. And so I think there's always going to be something about that in the back of my mind is that how many of these are there? How many people have what I have? Because I don't want there to be a lot of people that have what I have. And that's just just the way I kind of am. And I think it's not the healthiest thing in the entire world, but I know they're inevitable, just like Thanos is. And
Right.
it's going to happen. But if last thing I'll say, if you are looking at a figure and you're hoping for the reissue, there's a great video on that about the statistics of whether or not that's going to happen or not.
Hey.
You may be a little disappointed to find out that they're not as common as you think, but they are possible. But it is a punch in the balls when they do actually happen after you shelled out for it.
Yeah, I get what you mean on that. For me, I guess Kiko, I'm a little bit on the opposite side just because reissues to me, I just maybe don't care as much about them. Like, I totally understand the point of having wanting exclusivity though, because collecting in its nature is, in its essence rather, is something usually that other people don't have. You have something special, right? Instead of just walking into Walmart and grabbing like a Marvel Legends, which are cool too, they're special too. But the higher up you go and the more you pay and the more higher end of item you get, the more special it should be, right? Quote unquote special. So I do understand what you're talking about when you want something unique and exclusive and whatever. Like I totally empathize or sympathize with that type of collecting and that mindset. Just for me, I guess I'm more so about like getting something that I just really am happy with and that I really love. But Carlos made a good point about this. I don't like the idea of buying something that I know is going to depreciate in value. I don't like that idea because that's really what's happening right now with Hot Toys. So you're buying something that you know for sure, almost certainly is going to go down until you hold it for maybe a year or two, right? Then at that point, it might go up a little bit. So it for sure is definitely one of those things where it just really is it's a really unique spot, I think, that we're in right now with the market. It's just, I don't know, man. Everything tends to get reissued. Everything tends to be a 2.0. Like, there's a really interesting spot where I've told people that I really don't think you should chase or pay exorbitant prices for any figure nowadays.
Because you never know. You never know.
No,
and,
you don't.
Yeah. And I think in the way the world's so volatile at this point and, funds are so tight with a lot of people that it's probably not the wisest, most responsible thing to do by any means. But at the same time, going back to, Dark Side Anakin, a lot of people are like, oh, I really want this figure. It got up to like $1,000. And everyone's like, well, I'll just wait for the Obi-Wan reissue. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be an exact reprint, of that Sideshow exclusive. I don't know. But all I know is that there are people out there that really will feel robbed, essentially, knowing that they put a lot of effort in to track something down, paid over retail, to be able to say, I have this. This is my piece. I've captured it. I caught that shiny Pokemon. And now all of a sudden, everyone is walking around with it. That's just my opinion on it. But yeah.
Right. No, I get what you mean for sure. So that's why I always tell people not to do that. I tell people not to go fishing and not to go paying those exorbitant prices because even though, like you said, there's a 5% chance of a reissue, like eventually there's going to be something that either you'll forget about that figure or maybe you'll want something that'll be very similar to it. Like this Bespin Luke is a really good example of that. So all those people who maybe paid those crazy prices, now they're like, that figure still holds value because it's different than the original.
Yeah, it is. And I do think there are some people when it comes to, this Bespin Luke, kind of bringing it all full circle, is that they're trying to justify the fact, oh, I don't need this one. I already have this one. It's so different, things like that. They are trying to backpedal a little bit to make it, to negate the fact that it is a reissue, let's be honest, but they're negating the fact that what it is to justify either keeping it, selling it, whatever. So it's fun to see where people's mind goes with things and how they justify anything. Everyone has an infinite capacity to rationalize, their own behavior. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely, man. But it's definitely an interesting time, I think. Yeah, just for me, man, I tend to just be more like, hey, as long as I'm not getting things and if I want to sell them, I'm losing a ton of money, which is unfortunately happening right now.
Right. Even just don't Power Rangers everything.
Yeah, dude. And it's even happening with statues. Like I bought the Prime 1 Joker Joaquin Phoenix. That thing has been sitting for a while. And like I saw one sold on eBay recently for like $700. Like I paid $1,200 for that, I think. So, I'm like you said, if I go to sell that now, I'm taking a bath with that one. Like I'm netting probably $600, right? I'm getting half of my money back. So that's the thing I don't want to sell it, luckily, but thank God. But
you can't do that consistently or you're going to be in trouble.
No, you're not going to be collecting much longer. So yeah, exactly. But for sure. And that, even with statues, unless it's a J&D, unless it's a very limited edition size, I wouldn't pre-order it personally. Loki, I did because I know for sure I'm getting that and I couldn't wait to get it. So, but for most things, if you're kind of, I would say wait, but yeah, man, it's interesting to talk about because reissues are always the talk of the town, 3-day windows, reissues, whatever the case may be. But Keco, I want to ask you something else really interesting. So there's an abundance of options right now. We can get from Hong Kong resellers. We can get from Sideshow. We can get from other collectors. We can buy from comic retailers that are discounting, maybe offering free shipping, right? Maybe offering you promo codes, throwing them out like candy, 15% off. There's an abundance of options right now. And I tend to think, and I've heard others talk about this, like a Denobi, that the market is maybe being a little bit destabilized by the fact that there's so many options out there of where you can buy from. And part of it is for sure the Hong Kong resellers, because no doubt about it, they are lowering prices because Sideshow is getting things faster. So they're kind of matching that by saying, okay, we're going to outprice you then. We're going to undercut you. So that kind of throws off the market a little bit, because look at Night Monkey, look at Endgame, the Thanos, look at Iron Man, look at all these figures that you can get really cheap from those sellers, Lando. And then why would anyone buy them from Sideshow when you're going to pay $60, $70 more? So that's kind of what's happening to the market. Do you think there's something going on here? Maybe not just with Hong Kong resellers, but just how many options there are. And even you could even say how many good options there are just in collecting. There's good statues, there's good figures. Like there's a lot of good props that people are having to choose from. So this drives down the secondary prices. What do you think?
Well, this is all just my opinion by all means, is that more options for consumers is never a bad thing. Give people as many options to get what they want whenever. But with that being said, is that the more options at the table is that allows your providers and your distributors to really fight amongst themselves. And not everyone's going to survive that, which, because it's cannibalism, they eat themselves and people run out of capital. They can't continue doing what they're doing. Who knows what the books look like for everybody out there that's a distributor and such. It's great for us consumers. That's great. Gives us some options, but it won't last forever, because one person will make sure the other one goes out of business. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And so when that person gets moved off the table, then markets stabilize again. But is someone going to fill that void, or is it going to make things harder to get, easier to get? Who knows? And so as long as, there's options for people to get these things, and that I'm good with that. But when it comes down to the offerings from the actual companies themselves, that is the issue where I think we need to kind of press pause, is that I want to see people deliver on things. And I know that there's lots of saying, look at all the stuff's coming. And I know that I feel like we've put $1 in the bin every time we say Denobi's name. But,
I know, right?
So yeah, if Denobi's watching, what's up? So all that to say is that
shout out to Denobi.
There's $3 right there. He's gonna get that. He's gonna get that Iron Man bust by the night.
I know, right? Any day now.
Yeah. So all that to say is that where was I going? I got on a D
Sorry, I distracted you. That was my fault. It was the dollars I made it rain in the bin, the Denobi bin. $4.
Right, but all that to say is that I want to see people actually produce these things, because there's lots of things in the pipeline. And how many times have we seen companies fold before they actually deliver? Or we see people, and I do actually wonder, this is that I think that there is currently like 135 pre-orders for Hot Toys delivered between now and end of 2023, I suppose. And the math works out to like 7 releases a month. Right now we're getting like 1.5 a month. Does Hot Toys or any of these companies step in and say, look, we announced this, we won't be able to fulfill this, this is being shelved for now? Would any company have the balls to simply say, we cannot deliver on our givings right now, so in order to stabilize ourselves, we apologize, but we will deliver 50 things instead of 150? Do you think anyone would do that? Because that is where the issue is that the everyone has so much stuff coming, but nothing is coming, if that makes any sense. The backlog is insane. So I can start my own company today, Will, and say, hey, I can't show it to you, but damn, I got an incredible 1/6 scale, whatever it may be, whatever figure of my choice. I can't show it to you just yet, but it's coming. Do you want to give me a pre-order for it right now?
Yeah, I'll drop an NRD.
Sweet. And more to come soon. If you pre-order right now, I'll give you an extra 15% off.
Hey.
Things like that. And then it never delivers. And so those are my things. I know I rambled a little bit there, but I want to see some things happen here. And there's just not enough happening. There's a reason we just have the same things that we talk about sometimes on these shows, because nothing's coming out. Nothing's coming out.
There's a lot of teasing, but not a lot of, revealing, for lack of a better analogy. Like I do feel like, you're right. Everything's getting delayed. So that's a topic we actually have on the docket too. But like, I do feel like there's just a lot of options right now. Just in, like I said, in terms of what you can buy, where you can buy it, how much you can pay for it. There's so much competition, and that's a great thing for consumers for sure. But it's also like, I'm starting to almost feel like it's a double-edged sword, because we have great options in terms of buying it. But say we want to it to maintain its value secondary, that's struggling a little bit right now. So it's almost like we're getting it on the front end, but losing it on the back end. So that's kind of like the long-term value of a product tends to like, it feels like depreciate nowadays just because of, like I said, how it is in the market, or even how long it stays in stock, right? So I think those are the things that we're kind of getting hit with. Like it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like we're getting a great first buying experience, but if you decide you want to move on from that figure later, not as fun then, because then you're like, okay, maybe I'm taking a hit, like you said, taking a bath on that one. So that totally could happen.
And I don't know what the play is. I don't.
Right.
And good to see Denobi actually showed up in the
Yeah,
chat.
Denobi did show up. He's been
up?
summoned.
He's been
Candyman
summoned
at this point.
So all that to say is that if they were to say, okay, here's our pre-order. I'm just going to use Bespin Luke as an example. Here's Bespin Luke. We have 2,500 units that's going to be available at midnight this day. We're going to get it out to you in the next 6 months. 2,500, go. I would be into that. I would, because then there's that exclusivity. There is the desire knowing that something's going to come, and knowing that, hey, okay, there's not that many of them, so the production value, and they can ramp these things up. Cool, let's see what happens. Do something different, because I know someone was talking in the chat saying, what if it sells out? None of them are selling out because no one's made anything yet. And so they're just taking pre-orders. It's like that episode of Seinfeld. It's like, anybody can just take a reservation. It's the holding of the reservation. And so I don't know, man. I don't know what the end game is going to be or how you even fix that situation.
Yeah, it's really tricky for sure. I guess we're just going to see how it plays out, because like I said, there's a lot of good options. And we are the beneficiaries, but also it's like it's not maybe quite as amazing forever as we might think it's going to be. Like I said, the aftermarket is a little bit different than maybe what we thought it was going to be. But Carlos, thanks so much for the super chat. If Hot Toys was to catch up, they themselves would crash the market. Too much for collectors to pay up. The dead stock would be massive. That's actually a very good point. So if Hot Toys was releasing a lot of things at once, saying like, oh, these 4 figures are all set to come out next month, that would cause a little chaos. So,
but at this rate, nothing's going to, there's going to be things, Endgame Loki has been three years out. As I've talked about, I got married on the game day Endgame came out. We're coming up on our 3-year anniversary, and we still don't have Endgame Loki. Okay, it's been 3 years. Are we still? Is this Bespin Luke going to come out in 3 years? Perhaps. Who knows at this point? Because if it just keeps getting added to the back of the queue, there's no way you're going to eventually catch up there. And so something has got to give, and I don't know what that is.
Yeah. And I totally forgot to mention, my boy Joao is here. Joao, I keep forgetting it's you because I'm looking for third-party reviews and it's not. It's Big Breeda now. So like it keeps throwing me off, and I see the name and I'm like, oh, and then I look at it again. I'm like, oh wait, that's Joao. Joao's like, dude, he's such a cool guy. He really is. So check out his channel for sure. Joao's incredible. Love him. Joe Geista. Joe, thanks so much, man. $1.99 super chat. I appreciate it, man. Seriously, that really does mean a lot, man. So like I said, those super chats, guys, don't ever feel like you have to do that, but seriously, it does mean a lot. Supporting the channel, it's really nice. And yeah, it's very encouraging. Good feedback for sure. So Keco, I got 2 more topics here that I want to hit. And this is kind of something we've kind of maybe touched past a little bit. We've gone a little bit around the, we're not hitting directly until now. Delays. Everything's getting delayed. Everything pretty much. So it's just part of the game nowadays. There's, I don't know if you can blame it on COVID or just the amount of things that they have on their docket. Hot Toys especially, like if anything is put up for pre-order, expect like a 6-month delay at this point. That's what I would expect, if not more. Loki was supposed to come out like maybe Q3 of 21, and he's going to come out Q3 of 22. So Pennywise was delayed by a full year. So Gamora got delayed a ton. There's a lot of figures that get delayed. So how do you feel about this, Keco? Do you like this? Like, do you tend to do payment plans? Like it. Yeah, but cause some people like it because they can balance out their accounts. You know what I mean? So what do you think?
I think we've used the term double-edged sword quite a few times on this stream as well. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Was that
it's the long claw, dude. Long
claw. I was gonna say, it looked like Game of Thrones. I couldn't see which one it was.
Yeah,
I couldn't see the hilt there.
There you go.
From the Night Watch. Anyway, so with this double-edged sword, here's my issue: is that yes, it gives people time to kind of plan and prioritize, but then it also leaves idle hands to go and I don't have anything. And you go and make stupid choices and stupid purchases, or say, okay, or the worst, you lose interest and you lose a fan base and you lose people that, oh, I'd really like to get into this. This is super fun. I'm enjoying this. Maybe you are, even with somebody that does have significant amounts of disposable income and they're like, I'm not waiting around 3 years for this, and they're gone. That's a potential buyer that you lost out on. And I know you can't you can't save the world and, change everything and be like, okay, I'm going to fix this, right now, shipping to, can't do that. I get that. But there has to be something. There has to be a plan B. There has to be an incentive, a communication, something that keeps people interested, engaged, coming back, and sitting there just posting more. Hey, this is for pre-order. See you in 3 years. No one's going to care. I know you like Loki, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So Loki was not my favorite Disney Plus film. Okay. But do you really think, and I know they're talking about season 2, do you really think the Richard E. Grant figure is going to hit as hard in 3 years when it comes out as it would have when it originally came out? No one's going to.
No.
That's going to sit. Same
No
thing
doubt.
with a lot of characters and a lot of figures. And so there's obviously time and resources going into those figures. I don't know what you do, man. But how do I feel about them? I think it sucks. But all I can say is that if you are a genuine collector, don't give up hope. Don't stop. Don't make stupid choices. Just be smart and wait. Everything comes eventually.
Yeah. And before I go here, I got a couple super chats. Ashley Chase, thanks so much, Ash. Drop a super sticker rather for $7.99. Thanks so much, Ash. Really appreciate it, man. And Denobi dropping a super chat. Thanks so much, Denobi. My mathematical calculated algorithms, of course, are showing rough waters ahead. Some collectors may not survive the rapids. Wear your life vest. Oh, very doom and gloom, Denobi. We're gonna find out.
This is a very dark chat.
I know, right? Denobi just went super dark on us, but. So Keco, yeah, I'm pretty much the same as you. Like, delays suck. I really don't like them because nowadays I tend to I still have a pre-order list of things that I'm really trying to whittle down to get to zero because I want to get to the point where I don't have anything I'm paying off on pre-order that I haven't already paid. Like, if I'm going to pre-order something, I want to pay it in full if I can. Like, that's really my ideal. I don't want to have a pre-order list where I'm saying I have these charges coming in the future. I want to know I've either paid it or I'm going to just pay it. I'll decide to get it when it comes out and then pay it then, right? So that's kind of how I want to approach things from now on. I really don't like owing money. That's kind of something I'm trying to get away from.
Right. And hopefully no one does, by the way.
Right. Because it's so easy to drop NRDs like candy. It really is. I've done it in the beginning. It's like, oh, $25, $30, $40, it's fine, $50. And then you just look back and you're like, oh, but all these are going to drop.
Right. When the bill comes due, it's not exactly fun. And there's nothing worse than saying, oh, shit, I can't afford this. And you not only lose your non-refundable deposit, you don't even get a figure. And so you're out double. And that really sucks. So, planning is so important in this hobby.
Yeah, and to answer the question, how do I feel about delays? Yeah, they suck, man. They do. They really do. Sometimes it's nice to really catch up on your finances. Like, okay, maybe a delay every now and then is kind of cool because you're like, okay, I'm waiting an extra couple months, but I'm able to catch up on my finances. But this is, I think, the times when you don't have anything maybe on pre-order that's dropping right now, that's the times where I'm trying to be really cautious about saving because everything's going to come out soon and it could all hit you at once, right? And if you went in, like you said, like a not panic buy, but like boredom buy, like that's the kind of stuff where you could get yourself into a hole because, okay, you had that money then, but now where's the money when you need to spend on that pre-order? So, because I've literally done that. I've done it. So that's something that I think I really have tried to get away from. So, and I just encourage people to do the same but to each their own, do what they want. But, there are things that I think, if you really look at it and say like, I have a finite amount that I can spend here, then I can really look at that and say, okay, like I really have to be selective because of that. If you really keep yourself to that, that's how I like to approach it. But yeah, delays suck. So, but what are you going to do? Keco, I have one more question for you. So this is an interesting one because everyone seems to have their preferred scale. I would say most people in the chat would probably say 1/6. That's probably what most people are going to say because Hot Toys makes 1/6, Queen Studios and ours now make 1/6. There are figures you can pose, you can do a lot of things with them. The prices are still really high, but they're not quite as high for entry level and like compared to a statue or a 1-to-1 bust or whatever. So all of us, I think, would hear really like 1/6. But for you, what's your favorite scale and why? Like, what do you think if you had to pick one scale? What's your favorite?
Can I give you the one I hate the most as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Bonus question.
Yeah, bonus question. So I'll tell you my favorite one starting off. I love 1/5. 1/5 is the sweet spot. It's kind of the Darth Maul statue that I have or whatever, the Kenobi, those are 1/5. They are a hair smaller than, a quarter scale figure, but usually the base makes up for that. But it's still a 1/5 figure. I love that scale. Quarter scale is a little bit too big if you have too much of a base. I love my quarter scale Vader, and his base is moderate. My quarter scale Mando, way too big a base, but I mean, I make it work, with whatever. The one I do not like is 1/7 scale. Those are like the
Mm,
mini busts, and so they look too small next. These are like the half, the half. You know, what I'm talking about the half bust, gentle giant. You
yeah.
know, things like that. Diamond select. So those are the ones that aren't, the best for me. I have a little few too many of those. But 1/5 is going to be my favorite scale, just because it gives you the detail. It's a little bit bigger than 1/6, and I think it looks pretty good, man.
Yeah. I'm really conflicted on this, Kiko. Because there's just a lot, I think a lot of really good scales, and I really tend to mix scales a lot. I have a lot of 6 scale, I have a lot of quarter scale, I have a lot of third, and I even, like I said, have a half scale. So it really just depends on the piece. But for me, if I had to pick one, I'd probably say that I really like quarter scale or half scale. I sorry, not half, third scale. I really like third scale or quarter scale.
Yeah,
Those are the two that I
I keep
tend.
saying my Venom. My Venom's 1/3, and
Right.
man, that's a beauty beast of a piece. So I
One
mean, that's
third.
that's a sweet spot, but you can't have a lot of those,
Yeah, you
honestly.
can't. Like I tend to say quarter scale or one third. If I had to pick one, probably third. Probably third. Just because if you have the space and the money, because those are just, I feel like, the right size. They're very like they're still pretty large pieces, but they're not overly crazy where like they're taking up like your whole room, like maybe a half scale piece would be. So I would
Right.
say that third scale. Quarter scale is nice because they're pretty most of the statues can tend to be pretty reasonably priced. This Loki is a little bit of an exception because of the materials used, so it's a little bit higher than most quarter scales. Although some of the prime ones are like quarter scale and they're like 1,000. I paid 1,200 for Balder, right? And he's fully sculpted, so but quarter scale statues can tend to be a pretty nice, well-rounded piece. Like for example, this Loki.
Yeah.
So I tend to like quarter scale and third scale. If I had to pick one, I'd probably go third. If I wanted to get more, I'd get quarter. But if I wanted to get like if money or space was no issue, I would go third. So I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, and also it kind of depends on the character, because
Mm-hmm.
depending on if, a 1/3 Venom is going to be a lot different than a 1/3 Ahsoka. You know what I'm saying? Because they're
Mm-hmm.
two totally different size characters. So I think it's subjective, but in a perfect world, I would love just a bunch of 1/5, just because it's just a hair bigger than my typical 1/6. But yeah, I'll stick with 1/5 for now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on that one. So that's one that's pretty cool. So Kiko, dude, we did it. We got through all the topics. We rolled through
Hell
them.
yeah, man.
Record time, bro. Hour and 21
Well, I hope
minutes.
you
It
didn't feel
looks
like I
like.
was rushing anybody by any means.
Nah, bro. We went through it. We rolled through it, but we also were very thorough, dude. We're like
Correct.
rush but thorough. So we're good,
Yeah.
man. It's a good balance. But Kiko, what do you have coming up on your channel? Because I want to tell people you did that
Yeah.
the collecting displays for dummies video, which was awesome. Seriously, super
The
helpful. But do you have
definitive guide.
definitive guide? Is there anything else you want to talk about, or maybe that video you want to plug?
Yeah, for sure. As I've always said, I finally got back into doing the content creation for YouTube. It took me a little while to kind of, after I got on vacation, and boy, that took me a little while. I think I went 30 days without doing an actual video. So I've
Wow.
apologized to the fan base out there, for the few that actually do watch. But all that to say is that I am less than 100 away from 3,000. So if you are not subscribed to the channel, you need to go ahead and hook me up and subscribe to Keco Collects on YouTube. I was right like at 2,900 right when I jumped on here. So I need 100 more to get to 3,000. But I am still shooting for 10,000 by the end of the year. That's one thing that we're trying to do. I do have some things in the pipeline, as far as videos and such. So please help me out on that. And then obviously Instagram, that's where we do a lot of the fun toy photography and all that. I really enjoy doing that. And one of the things I will always say is that if you comment in a YouTube video or Instagram post, I will comment back. I'm not that type of person that does not respond to the lovely audience out there. I try to be super engaged. So if you comment on a YouTube video, you will get a response back from me, unless it's completely hateful and I can just tell you to go double bird later.
The fingers are blurred. It's fine.
Right. There you go.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah. See, blurred. We're not getting demonetized here. No demonetization here.
absolutely. This is good, man.
Yeah, that's how you do it, bro. That's how you do it. So Bakiko, thanks so much for joining, man. Seriously, and I do want to hit. There's a super chat real quick from Joe Geista. Joe, if I'm mispronouncing your name, I'm so sorry, but thanks so much, man. Been stuck in my room with. Oh, dude, that sucks, man. Feel better. Been stuck in my room with COVID, but listening to you guys have improved my day. Sadly, I'm falling out of love with 1/6 collecting with the delays, dude. That's tough. That's tricky. I know, but try not to. I mean, because if anything, the piece will come and it'll be great, hopefully, and you'll still love collecting. But if you fall out of love with it, that's fine too. But, my opinion, try not to fall too far out of love with it just because it's been delayed. There are always other things that are coming out. And, I think it's, still going to be exciting time. So there's still a lot of cool pieces.
Just like Loki said, the sun will shine on us again, brother.
Exactly. See, Keco gets it. You know who you're talking to. You're playing to the crowd. You know, the host, rather. The crowd host. You get the idea. So, but I do want to say thanks so much for watching, guys. Remember that these episodes are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So for those who do want to listen to audio only and watch here as well, you can totally do that. It'll be uploaded usually over like the next few days. I might even put it up tonight, for example, but it'll be up there. And yeah, I'll have a collector's mingle at Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I know Optical's going to be there, Lael and Mario. I'm not sure who else, but there'll be some other fun panelists and fun topics. Carlos actually kind of helped me with this a little bit. Like, I'm actually thinking of doing channel members. So I created those, and hopefully I'm going to do those soon. If I do them, let me know if you guys want to be interested in that. I'll probably just do like some private live streams, mostly gaming streams and things like that I can do for channel members. It would literally only be like $1.99 a month. So if people do want to join something like that, let me know so I can know whether I should even do it at all. If people even care, because really it's never been about the money for me. It's more so just about for, the fun of it and giving people, something that's hopefully entertaining and helpful. But yeah, so let me know if you guys be interested in that. If not, no worries, no skin off my back. We're all good. But yeah, Keco, any final thoughts, man, before we roll?
No, man, I just once again thank you, everybody that chills with us, listens to my bullshit. Will, once again, always a pleasure being with you. Carlos, we'll be chatting.
Yeah. 2.5K, Carlos. Bye.